So we're going to test
286, but
286, 0.9.
We're going to test the difference between indoor and outdoor lactics and heart rates and powers, etc., to make sure that we're keeping things consistent and making sure that we're training at the right intensities outdoors as well as indoors.
Set you off for like a minute after Freddie.
Yeah.
And then we'll get going. Am I going to be on your vlog?
You can do if you want. Would you like to be? We thought we'd talk to you a little bit about what we've been up to in the past week or so. Got Ollie.
Hello everyone.
And we're gonna focus on indoor versus outdoor training because that's kind of what we've been testing this week, and we're obviously outside today. So what have you been up to the past week?
So basically we had a little bit of a winter spell in Cardiff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, actually I'm pretty knackered this weekend. Yeah. We've had quite a tough week, all in all, quite high volume, cold, and a lot of extra work.
And just a lot of extra snowy conditions that we don't usually have to contend with if you turn the camera around. So we're currently probably at like 200 meters, but when you get to the top of this, you're about 500. I said the snow is like 15-20 centimeters. It's like being in a ski resort, like a shit version of a French ski resort.
But
scenic. It
is scenic, and we love being out and not on the trainer. And yeah, I would be on the turbo trainer if it was too icy, but this road, or this route should I say, tends to be pretty gritted, so not too bad under the skinny little tyres. Although I did have a near-death experience a minute ago.
Speed wobbles.
I got the speed wobbles, and
I thought he's having like a stroke or something.
But managed to get it under control and stay on the bike. But yeah, why do we come out instead of staying in?
A few reasons. One, if you wear the right kit, it's fine. Number two,
Castelli.
With my friends, you know. Every day is a therapy day when you're around your friends. And number three, it's easier to come out and train with your mates than it is to go on the turbo mentally.
Takes your mind away a little bit, and you get a bit more scenery other than just drafting my little Zwift self. So I much prefer it, and like Ollie said, as long as you're wearing the right kit, I think it's quite comfortable and enjoyable. If you're wearing the wrong kit, however,
I've done that before. It wasn't snowy, but it was raining, and it's probably 2 degrees, and I was a silly little fresher, and it was pretty grim. I was pretty much in tears. Josh lent me his gloves and all sorts, but
yeah,
it's good.
But hey ho, this week what we've been doing is we've been lactic testing the ramp test, so basically getting our lactic curves tested again, but this time outside instead of on the turbo trainer, because we wanted to see what the difference was. We were actually doing it for Felix, but his dissertation is on the differences between indoor and outdoor cycling and whether or not your zones or your lactics or your heart rates change depending on where you are. And it was quite interesting. What did you find?
So I feel like on the turbo I find it quite easy to push high power for low heart rate. And I think it's probably based around the cadence. However, on the road, my heart rate is a lot higher, and power exactly the same, lactic exactly the same. So it's good for me to know, because now I come out and I do sessions with the boys in the real world, not on Zwift or on the turbo. I'm actually not riding as conservatively as I was. So I think for me, 10 to 15 beats per zone.
That was tough. Not too bad. Obviously, it was just going through the gears. We did a ramp test similar to the one that we did indoors, And yeah, no, it was like relatively similar in terms of the power to lactic, but the heart rate changed. So the heart rate was similar at the lower end and then lower at the top end, and I think it's because of cooling and like just wind, air, like just cooling and stuff like that outdoors rather than indoors when the sweat builds up on your body and then you can't get rid of the heat because the sweat isn't evaporating quickly and therefore you're just overheating and the system is just like cooking essentially, which is what I do indoors and in hot climates. So in the hotter races I can't cool quick enough because the sweat's building up, I'm drenched, and therefore the body isn't able to cool itself down, the system isn't able to cool, and I get a bit unstuck. But onwards to well, I've just done 2 by 15 minutes or so tempo just off the back of that, so I'm pretty much done for today. I'm gonna just spin home now and then chill out because I'm pretty tired. Pretty big day. Threshold session in the pool this morning. I didn't swim very well this morning, first time in a while. Got a load of beef from the guys. Yeah, and then run afterwards, just a 50-60 minute run, and now just a 2-hour bike. Gonna finish up now, get home, get something to eat, and then chill out for the evening.
Difference?
So Ollie's heart rate was higher outdoors than it was indoors, which is in complete contrast to me. My heart rate was almost spot on all the way up until my second lactic turn point, so threshold, and then it started to be a bit lower in comparison to indoor cycling. And my initial thoughts are probably that it's to do with cooling.
Yeah.
And
I think it's different for different people.
Of course it's different for different people. Like for me, I don't dissipate heat very well because I'm short and stocky, whereas Ollie's the opposite, Yessen's the opposite. Fred's probably more similar to me, so he had similar results to me outside as well. But yeah, really interesting. But I love indoor riding. I think it's really, really useful for getting a bit of power in the legs and controlling the efforts and being really efficient with your time. But that can't be said for everyone, and I understand that. How do you make it easier for yourself indoors?
Well, I just got a new turbo. I was riding tax.
So it's harder now.
Tax Flux S. And I could pretty much power my way to a World Tour peloton on that bad boy. But now I'm on the kicker, so I get a little bit more accurate. It's a whole different ball game. I'm still trying to learn how to ride it, how to keep the cadence. I think I struggle massively with the muscular conditioning on the turbo. I
think that's a good point actually. Like, you do have to learn to ride the turbo that you're training on, and there's a difference per turbo. Like the Neo for me is quite tough. I find it, because of the magnetic flywheel, or magnetic resistance on the flywheel, it's really hard actually and muscular. It's like riding up this hill constantly.
Just to turn the pedals. Yeah,
just to turn the pedals is tough. Whereas something with a bigger flywheel and more realistic outdoor nature, it's far easier to ride. Something like a Watt Bike Atom, even my Diretto, Elite Diretto, is good. And I think the kickers are better than the Neos as well. But yeah, for me, I'm a pretty simple soul. I just chuck an erg on the computer and then pretty much go at it, watching TV or having a chat or something similar.
I mean, I used to love the turbo. I think it's going to take me a couple of weeks to get into it.
Basically, it's going to take him a couple of weeks to regain the fitness of the 20 watts he's now lost.
Yeah. But I've got the zones now, so
yeah.
I know that's the whole point of the test. It doesn't really matter where you're at. It just gives you a rough gauge of what to train and how to train it. Like, you're not looking for wonder numbers. They come in the season.
Exactly.
And in the races.
Exactly. We're just using it as a training tool, right? It doesn't really matter on the numbers until you get to the race. So, using it for the most efficient training possible, how to get the work done, and making the most of what we do have and what we've got access to. Not a bad little road.
Bicycles.
Even if you're at the back of the group, it doesn't matter. Good fun though.